14 days from now, you sit down at your kitchen table. You wrap that familiar cuff around your arm. You press the button, and when the numbers appear on that tiny screen, you blink. You check again. Because the number is lower than it's been in months, maybe years. Not because your doctor increased your dose. Not because you started exercising 2 hours a day. Because you added 7 specific foods to your daily routine. Foods that work on the biological machinery your medication was never designed to reach. That's exactly what happened to a 72-year-old man named Arthur who sat in my clinic 11 months ago with a blood pressure reading of 158/94. He was already on 2 medications. He walked every morning. He'd cut back on salt years ago. He'd done everything his doctor told him to do, and his numbers were still dangerously high. Arthur looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, I feel like I'm losing a battle I don't understand." He was right. He was losing, but not because he wasn't trying hard enough. Because nobody had ever explained to him what was actually driving his blood pressure up from the inside. And nobody had shown him the 7 foods that directly target those hidden drivers. 11 months later, Arthur's blood pressure sits consistently at 128/78. His cardiologist reduced one of his medications. Not because Arthur asked. Because the numbers gave the doctor no other logical option. I'm Dr. Arav Menon, and this is MediGentle. I've spent over 25 years in cardiovascular medicine. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what Arthur did. 7 foods. One unified system. Each one targeting a different biological mechanism that keeps your blood pressure high. But I need to tell you something important right now. Halfway through this video, I'm going to reveal 2 things almost certainly sitting in your kitchen that are actively sabotaging every healthy choice you make. If you skip that section, these 7 foods will deliver maybe a third of their potential. Stay with me until the end. What I share in the second half might be the most important thing you hear this year. Let's start with why your blood pressure is still high despite everything you're already doing. Before I reveal the 7 foods, I need to explain something your doctor probably hasn't had time to fully discuss. Because without understanding this one molecule, none of what follows will make complete sense. Your blood vessels are lined with a thin layer of cells called the endothelium. This lining produces a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is your body's natural blood pressure regulator. When it's released, the smooth muscles surrounding your arteries relax. The vessels widen. Blood flows through with less resistance. Pressure drops. Think of nitric oxide as the key that unlocks the tension in your blood vessels. Without enough of it, your arteries stay constricted, stiff, and narrow. Your heart has to push harder. Pressure rises. Here's what changes after 60. Your body's ability to produce nitric oxide declines significantly. Some research suggests production drops by as much as 50% between the ages of 40 and 70. Your endothelium becomes less responsive. The enzyme that manufactures nitric oxide becomes less active. And at the same time, free radicals from inflammation and oxidative stress destroy the nitric oxide you do produce before it can reach your artery walls. So you're making less and losing more of what you make. That's the hidden imbalance behind persistent high blood pressure that medication alone often cannot fully correct. Most blood pressure medications work downstream. They block hormones, remove fluid, or slow heart rate. All important, but they don't rebuild your nitric oxide system. They don't repair the upstream machinery. The 7 foods I'm about to share do. Some supply the raw materials your body converts into nitric oxide. Some activate the enzyme that manufactures it. Some protect the nitric oxide you already produce from being destroyed. And some address parallel pathways, inflammation, sodium balance, arterial stiffness, that multiply the effect. Together, they form one integrated system designed to attack high blood pressure from 7 biological angles simultaneously. Not 7 random tips. One protocol. Let's begin with food number 1. And this one works faster than anything else on the list. Food number 1. Beet juice. If there's a single food that demonstrates how directly diet can influence blood pressure, it's this one. And the mechanism is beautifully simple. Beets contain one of the highest concentrations of dietary nitrates found in any vegetable. When you drink beet juice, those nitrates travel to your mouth first. Specific bacteria living on the surface of your tongue convert dietary nitrates into nitrite. That nitrite enters your bloodstream and converts into active nitric oxide. Your arteries relax. Blood flows more easily. Pressure drops. A study published in the journal Hypertension found that 250 milliliters of beet juice daily reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of approximately 8 millimeters of mercury. The effect began within hours of consumption. That magnitude of reduction is comparable to what some first-line blood pressure medications achieve. Here's your MediGentle protocol. Drink one small glass, approximately 250 milliliters, of beet juice every morning. Room temperature is important. Cold beet juice slows the nitrate conversion process in your mouth. If the earthy taste is too strong, mix with a small amount of apple juice or lemon, not orange juice. The acidity of orange juice can interfere with the bacterial conversion process. Here's the detail most people miss. The bacteria on your tongue that convert nitrates into nitric oxide are essential to this entire process. If you're using antibacterial mouthwash, you may be destroying those exact bacteria twice a day. I'll explain this more in the saboteur section later. But for now, know that your oral health and your blood pressure are directly connected. Important MediGentle safety note. Beet juice can lower blood pressure meaningfully. If you're already on blood pressure medication, this is a positive development, but your doctor needs to know. The combined effect could potentially lower your pressure more than intended. Start with half a glass for the first week. Monitor your readings. Share the change with your physician. Food number 2 delivers the same nitrate pathway as beet juice, but adds a second mechanism that beets can't match. Food number 2. Arugula. Most people walk right past arugula at the grocery store. That's a significant missed opportunity. Because gram for gram, arugula contains more dietary nitrates than almost any other leafy green, including beets. But arugula offers something beets don't have in the same concentration: potassium. Potassium is critical for blood pressure because it signals your kidneys to excrete sodium rather than retain it. When sodium builds up in your body, it pulls water into your bloodstream. Total blood volume increases. Your heart has to push harder. Pressure rises. Potassium is the natural counterbalance. And most people over 60 are chronically deficient in it without realizing it. Let me tell you about a patient named Doris. She was 68 and meticulous about reducing her salt intake. She'd been on a low-sodium diet for 5 years. But her blood pressure remained stubbornly elevated. When I tested her potassium levels, they were below optimal range. She wasn't eating too much sodium. She was eating too little potassium. The ratio was imbalanced. Within 4 weeks of adding arugula to her daily routine, combined with other changes, her readings began dropping consistently for the first time in years. Here's your MediGentle protocol. Add 2 large handfuls of fresh arugula to one meal each day. A simple salad with extra virgin olive oil and fresh lemon juice works perfectly. And here's the critical detail. Do not cook it. Heat destroys both the nitrate content and the potassium bioavailability. Raw arugula, every single day. That's the operative instruction. If you find arugula too peppery on its own, mix it with milder greens like butter lettuce. The nitrate content of the arugula remains fully intact regardless of what surrounds it. Food number 3 does something no other food on this list can do. It mimics one of the most prescribed classes of blood pressure medication on earth. Food number 3, hibiscus tea. What if I told you there's a flower that works through the exact same biological pathway as a class of prescription blood pressure medications taken by hundreds of millions of people worldwide? You'd probably think I was exaggerating. I'm not. Hibiscus contains compounds called anthocyanins and organic acids that inhibit an enzyme called angiotensin converting enzyme, commonly known as ACE. ACE inhibitors are among the most commonly prescribed blood pressure medications globally. They work by blocking the production of angiotensin II, a hormone that constricts blood vessels and drives pressure up. Hibiscus does this naturally. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Nutrition, analyzing data from multiple clinical trials, found that regular hibiscus consumption reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of approximately 7.5 millimeters of mercury. Consistent and meaningful. Here's your Medigental protocol. Steep 2 teaspoons of dried hibiscus flowers in 240 milliliters of hot water for 8 to 10 minutes. Drink 1 to 2 cups daily. The tea has a tart, cranberry-like flavor that most people find pleasant. You can add a small amount of raw honey if needed. Avoid adding refined sugar, which triggers insulin responses that work against blood pressure control. Critical Medigental safety note. If you are currently taking ACE inhibitor medications, such as lisinopril, enalapril, or ramipril, you must speak with your doctor before adding hibiscus tea regularly. The combined ACE inhibiting effect may lower your pressure more than intended. This is not a reason to avoid hibiscus. It's a conversation your physician needs to be part of. Adjustments may be needed. That's a good outcome, not a dangerous one. Here's a detail most people don't know. Drink hibiscus tea without milk. Dairy proteins bind to the active anthocyanins and significantly reduce their absorption. Black, with lemon if you prefer. Nothing else. Food number 4 has been used for thousands of years, but almost everyone prepares it wrong. Food number 4. Raw garlic. Garlic is one of the most studied foods in cardiovascular medicine. But here's what frustrates me. Almost everyone who eats garlic for health benefits is unknowingly destroying the very compound that makes it effective because of one simple preparation mistake. Let me explain. When you crush or finely chop a raw garlic clove, you trigger a chemical reaction. An enzyme called alliinase converts a compound called alliin into allicin. Allicin is the powerhouse. It's responsible for most of garlic's cardiovascular benefits. Inside your body, allicin converts further into hydrogen sulfide. And hydrogen sulfide, like nitric oxide, is a gasotransmitter, a signaling gas that tells your blood vessels to relax and dilate. So with garlic, you're activating a completely separate vasodilation pathway from the nitric oxide system. 2 different relaxation signals hitting your arteries simultaneously. But here's where most people lose the entire benefit. Alliinase, the enzyme that creates allicin, is destroyed by heat within seconds. If you crush garlic and immediately throw it into a hot pan, the enzyme dies before the conversion to allicin is complete. You get garlic flavor. You get 0 cardiovascular benefit. The correct protocol. Crush or finely mince 1 to 2 cloves of raw garlic. Then wait 10 full minutes. That waiting period allows the alliinase enzyme to fully convert alliin into allicin before heat or stomach acid can interfere. After 10 minutes, eat it raw. Mix into a salad dressing. Spread on avocado toast. Stir into hummus. However you prefer. 10 minutes. That single detail transforms garlic from a flavoring agent into a cardiovascular therapy. Quick question for you. Do you eat garlic regularly? And when you prepare it, do you cook it immediately or wait? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many of you have been getting the full benefit versus losing it every single day without realizing. Food number 5 has the most impressive long-term clinical evidence of anything on this list. And the numbers genuinely surprised me when I first read the research. Food number 5, ground flaxseed. A randomized controlled trial published in the journal Hypertension followed patients over 6 months. One group added ground flaxseed to their daily diet. The other did not. At the end of the study, The flaxseed group showed an average reduction in systolic blood pressure of approximately 10 millimeters of mercury, sustained over 6 months. That is a meaningful reduction by any clinical standard. The mechanism isn't one pathway. It's several working simultaneously. Flaxseed provides alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that directly reduces arterial inflammation. Inflamed arteries are stiff arteries. Stiff arteries resist blood flow. Pressure rises. Flaxseed also contains lignans, plant compounds that influence hormonal pathways connected to vascular regulation. And it's rich in soluble fiber, which benefits the gut microbiome in ways that research increasingly links to cardiovascular health. Here's your MediGentle protocol. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed daily. The word ground is critical and non-negotiable. Whole flax seeds pass through your digestive system largely intact. Your body cannot access the active compounds unless the outer shell is broken. Buy pre-ground flaxseed or grind your own in a coffee grinder. Add it to yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies, or sprinkle over salads. The taste is mild and nutty. Most people barely notice it. Here's the honest truth about flaxseed. It's not fast. You need 8 to 12 weeks of consistent daily use before the full effect shows up in your readings. This is biology working at the cellular level, reducing inflammation, repairing arterial flexibility, rebalancing your gut. It takes time, but consider this. 12 weeks from now will arrive whether you start today or not. The question is what your blood pressure will look like when it does. Food number 6 activates a specific enzyme your arteries desperately need after 60, and it tastes remarkably good. Food number 6. Dark chocolate. Minimum 85% cacao. I know some of you just smiled, but this isn't permission to raid the candy aisle. The science here is precise, and the distinction between therapeutic dark chocolate and regular chocolate is enormous. Cacao is one of the richest dietary sources of compounds called flavonols. Flavonols activate an enzyme in your artery walls called endothelial nitric oxide synthase, or eNOS. This is the enzyme your body uses to manufacture nitric oxide directly from the amino acid arginine. So with beet juice and arugula, we're supplying raw nitrate materials from the outside. With dark chocolate, we're restarting the internal factory that builds nitric oxide from the inside. 2 completely independent pathways converging on the same result. Relaxed arteries. Lower pressure. A meta-analysis of multiple clinical trials found that regular consumption of high flavonol chocolate produced measurable reductions in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure across diverse populations. Here's your MediGentle protocol. 20 to 30 grams of dark chocolate per day. That's approximately 3 to 4 small squares. Minimum 85% cacao. The higher the percentage, the higher the flavonol content and the lower the sugar. Here's the detail that determines whether this works or doesn't. Avoid chocolate combined with milk. Dairy proteins bind to flavonols and block their absorption significantly. Eat your dark chocolate on its own, not with milk. Not dipped in cream. Allow it. Let it melt slowly on your tongue. And please hear this clearly. This is not a license to eat an entire bar. 20 to 30 grams is the amount the research supports. More than that, and the sugar and calorie load begin working against you. Precision matters. The dose makes the medicine. Safety note. Dark chocolate contains caffeine and theobromine. If you're sensitive to stimulants, consume it earlier in the day, never before bed. Food number 7 plays a role no other food can fill. It's the shield that protects everything else. Food number 7. Pomegranate juice. Every food we've discussed so far either produces nitric oxide or activates the machinery that manufactures it. But here's the problem nobody talks about. Nitric oxide is an unstable molecule. Free radicals generated by inflammation, oxidative stress, poor sleep, and processed food destroy nitric oxide before it ever reaches your artery walls. You could eat beets every morning, arugula at lunch, and dark chocolate in the afternoon. And if your oxidative stress is high enough, most of that nitric oxide gets neutralized before it can do its job. Pomegranate juice is the shield. Pomegranate contains exceptionally potent antioxidants, including a compound called punicalagin that is unique to this fruit. Research indicates it is more effective than green tea or red wine at neutralizing the specific free radicals that destroy nitric oxide. A clinical trial published in Clinical Nutrition found that pomegranate juice consumption reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of approximately 5%, while simultaneously increasing measurable nitric oxide levels in the bloodstream. Less destruction, more protection, better results from everything else you're eating. Here's your MediGentle protocol. 150 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice daily. That's approximately 2/3 of a standard glass. Read the label carefully. You want 100% pomegranate juice with no added sugar and not from concentrate. Both sugar and concentration processing reduce the polyphenol content significantly. Think of pomegranate as the bodyguard. The other 6 foods are building your nitric oxide supply. Pomegranate makes sure that supply survives long enough to reach your artery walls and do its job. Important MediGentle note. Pomegranate juice can interact with certain blood pressure medications and blood thinners, including warfarin. Please inform your doctor if you add pomegranate juice to your daily routine. Now, I need your full attention for what comes next. Because for many of you, this next section determines whether the 7 foods actually work. Everything I've shared so far builds your blood pressure defense system. But there are 2 things hiding in your daily routine that can silently tear that system apart. If you don't address these, the 7 foods will deliver a fraction of their potential. Saboteur number 1, your mouthwash. I know, this sounds absurd. But remember the bacteria on your tongue that convert dietary nitrates from beet juice and arugula into nitric oxide? Those specific bacteria are your cardiovascular allies. Antibacterial mouthwash, the kind that promises to kill 99.9% of bacteria, cannot distinguish between harmful bacteria and the beneficial nitrate-converting bacteria your blood pressure depends on. It destroys both equally. A study published in Free Radical Biology and Medicine found that using antibacterial mouthwash twice daily reduced nitric oxide bioavailability by approximately 25%. 1/4 of your cardiovascular benefit, erased by a 30-second rinse. The MediGentle solution. Switch to a fluoride-only toothpaste. Brush thoroughly. If you use mouthwash, choose a non-antibacterial formula, or simply rinse with water after meals. Your oral microbiome is not separate from your cardiovascular system. It is part of it. Saboteur number 2, your breakfast. Cereal, toast with jam, orange juice, a muffin. These foods cause a rapid spike in blood glucose. Your pancreas responds with an insulin surge. But insulin has a secondary effect most people have never been told about. It signals your kidneys to retain sodium rather than excrete it. Sodium retention increases blood volume. More volume means more pressure. This is a significant reason why blood pressure peaks most sharply between 6 and 10 in the morning. Not just cortisol, not just circadian rhythms. Breakfast, the MediGentle solution. Shift your morning meal toward protein and healthy fat. Eggs with avocado, Greek yogurt with walnuts and ground flaxseed, smoked salmon with cucumber. Foods that digest slowly, produce minimal insulin response, and allow your kidneys to stay in sodium excretion mode through the most dangerous hours of the day. What does your current breakfast look like? Toast and coffee? Something different? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Let me make this as practical as possible. Here's your MediGentle daily protocol. Every morning, first thing, 1 glass of room temperature beet juice, 20 minutes before breakfast. This floods your system with nitric oxide precursors during the morning surge window when your blood pressure is at its highest risk. Breakfast, protein and fat-based. Eggs, avocado, smoked salmon, or Greek yogurt with walnuts and 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. No cereal. No toast with jam. No orange juice. Lunch. 2 large handfuls of raw arugula in a salad with olive oil and lemon. Add garlic that was crushed 10 minutes before eating. Afternoon. 150 milliliters of pure pomegranate juice. 3 to 4 squares of 85% dark chocolate. Consumed separately from dairy. Evening. 1 to 2 cups of hibiscus tea. No milk. Steep for 8 to 10 minutes. 7 foods. Strategically timed across your day. Each one hitting a different biological target. All of them building on each other. Arthur didn't do this perfectly from day one. He started with beet juice and arugula in the first week. Added flaxseed and hibiscus in week 2. Built gradually over a month. That's all it takes. I want to end with something Arthur told me at his last appointment. He said, "Doctor, for the first time in years, I don't feel like my body is fighting against me. I feel like we're finally on the same team." That's what this is really about. Not just numbers on a screen. It's about waking up without that quiet dread of what the monitor will show. It's about your doctor looking at your results and nodding with genuine approval. It's about knowing you're doing everything within your power to protect the heart that's carried you through your entire life. These 7 foods don't replace your medication. They complete what your medication started. Upstream and downstream working together. That's how blood pressure is truly controlled. Which of these 7 foods surprised you the most? And which one are you starting with today? Tell me in the comments. I'll be there. If someone you love is over 60 and struggling with blood pressure, share this video with them. Not to overwhelm them, to show them there's more they can do. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a Medi-Gentle conversation. Take care of your heart. Take care of your arteries. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.